Man, Dragon Song is such a good song.
Welcome to the hardest phase in DSR to prog. This
Really?
phase was a slog, but before I get into why exactly, let's walk you through what's happening quickly. The wandering minstrel recites his verse. A single life can alter the course of history.
Guys, until today, I do not know how the tank buster works. I know that there's a tank buster that you need to share and a tank buster you need to spread. I have no fucking idea how it works. This is the only ultimate I have not tanked. I have no idea how it works.
The Great Worm Hrisvelga descended upon Ishgard at his vengeful brother's side. Thanks to our saving of Harshathon and our sparing of Thordan, this is what had happened. Both Nidhogg and Hrisvelga bring their full force to bear against us, cornering your party between the two of them at the final steps of faith. The first mechanic is Worm's Breath, which tethers each of the non-tanks with either an ice tether or a fire.
Man, Ninja is so comfy in this fight.
These tethers shoot the targeted player with a fairly thin pizza slice cleave at the end of the cast, and if you had fire,
The 10
you
GG
get
here.
paralytic, which forces you to stop moving. And
Yeah,
if
there's
you
a 10
had
GG
ice,
here.
You will be frozen.
Okay. This strat is monka as fuck. Please do not do this. Please do the triangle strat properly, where you stand at the inner line of these two lanes. Please do that. That is a way better strat. This strat is monka as fuck, man. Funny enough, this tether right here, actually during proc, I didn't know. But this tether not breaking is fine. This is a mechanic that doesn't mean that you have to stretch it. This is a proximity tether. The further it is, the least damage you take. But even if you don't break it, let's just say it's 1 mm away from breaking, the amount you take is still prorated. It is still distance based. Actually didn't know that. So like, let's just say you can actually just, for Ninja, for example, you can actually just shade shift here and you just stand there 10 GG. It's fine. This doesn't break, it's okay. Just take more damage, you know?
Forces you to stop moving. And if you had ice, you will be frozen and thus
Oof.
unable to move. If you get hit by both though, they will cancel one another out. You get neither. The crux of this mechanic is managing your Avail.
Junction Shiva is the same. Junction Shiva is exactly the same, except the damage drop-off is lower. This damage drop-off is very forgiving. Shiva is you have to break it. That becomes kind of fatal. But if you actually bring further, it becomes less fatal. So it's still, the mechanic of this tether is still the same. This is proximity. You just have to know the threshold of fatal and non-fatal. For this one, right, the threshold for fatal is actually shorter. Shiva is longer. That's why you see some DPS in Shiva, when they barely break tether, they still die. Why? Because they still die to the proximity.
Available space in order to get each of the 6 players hit twice and only twice, while also having them start off close enough to one another to deal with the randomness.
Does the
of
tanks need to get hit by... No,
especially
the tanks
considering
doesn't,
the
right?
large tank busters are going off at
Yeah,
the
like I
same
said, I have no
time,
fucking idea how
you
tank
can't
works.
just use the full arena. One random DPS gets marked by Mortal Vow, reducing their ability to heal. This needs to be traded to another player by stacking on expiration, and if that doesn't happen, an enraged state instantly triggers. You'll spend the entire phase juggling this buff between players, hoping no third guy accidentally stands in it and subsequently goes boom. Then comes Akafar, which is honestly the worst mechanic in this entire fight. Both dragons will channel a stack damage on the healers, so split into parties of 4, but there's a twist. During this mechanic, both dragons need to be within 3% of HP of one another, or else they are going to tether together and make this stack instantly kill everyone within it. And it is awful to deal with, because this occurs so late in the encounter, and the HP differential is so minimal, and the dragons don't have a large amount of HP to begin with.
You get a pattern that you would just be hitting one dragon more sometimes. This is very disciplined. You have some motherfuckers that cannot stop and then it's over. You cannot recover a certain amount of difference. Like when you do raw flame as well, there are some patterns. Again, today I don't know whether there's like a brain dead strat. We just do like a U shape, right? I don't know how people run raw flame. There are some patterns that you have to run away, right? I'm not sure whether like today there is like a strat where you can always hit one of them. I don't know.
To create a punching mechanic that falls victim to crit variance a lot. And groups had to work really hard and be very aware to make sure that they could keep their DPS's itchy trigger finger from bursting too much during that 5-second window. Then Nidhogg dives and the tanks are hit by huge AoEs that everyone else has to avoid before the cast of Wrath Flames begins. This mechanic was the big prog wall of the phase. Big sets of fireballs would spawn, which will later explode in a plus shape in the order they spawned. Hrisvelga this time will dive in the same way Nidhogg did before, rendering a large section
like this, right?
A death zone.
If you get patterns like this,
a multi-hit stack on the group, and with each hit, a dangerous bleed per.
Real talk, if you get pattern like this, it's less likely to wipe. If you get the uptime pattern, it's higher likely to wipe. Because you know why? Nidhogg is going to be so fucking low HP compared to the other one. Again, I don't know whether today there's like a guaranteed strat that you can always hit Nidhogg. I don't know.
Is left on the floor beneath you. You need to move as one, taking all of this damage, avoiding the fireballs and dives and the brand new hot wing or hot tail, and then organize into groups randomly, based into spreads or different pair stacks that can be randomly assigned based on debuffs. Easy, right? There were a few problems here. Firstly, you had to clear all the way up to this phase, which was an insane consistency check. Then, you had to get through both Worm's Breath and
I hate that pattern so much.
Which were both still pain points for practically every stream group. And once you managed to do all those things and get a life pull on your hands,
dude, this is so scary.
A solid hour of attempts to do.
Think about it, that is so
You then had
scary.
to deal with the massive incoming damage, the random buffs, and locating the safe spot, and figuring out the best path to direct the Akh Morn baits in. One word to sum up the progression of this mechanic: punishing. But eventually, after much pain and iteration, strats began to come together. After all this goes down, there's an Arc of R equal HP check, which meant that groups had to pay special attention to boss HP immediately after Wrath Flames in order to equalize. Then a bunch more dodging, mortal Vow trades, tank busters, and a second Worm's Breath. Then, the two dragons will get sick of this encounter, jump to the north, and dive you to
I have no idea how the tank mechanic works.
This was quickly solved. Nidhogg is fire-coded and Svelga is ice-coded. And you remember how double stacking the fire and ice elements of the Worm's Breath has them cancel one another out? Well, if you skip that step entirely and go into the dragon dives with the fire or the ice buff, you can use them to cancel out the elements associated with the dives and survive the phase.
That is the hardest, that is the biggest hitbox we will ever see for a boss. Do you guys think one day we will ever see all bosses in Final Fantasy XIV just become this big? This has to be the biggest hitbox I've ever seen.
Towards how painful Double Dragons was to blind prog. It was like it was specifically designed to be a prog wall, equal HP checks, and 2 of them at that, and numerous mechanics back to back that were just cryptic enough to require trial and error to reach the correct solution and pass. The phase hits hard, too, especially on tanks. And if there wasn't a real plan in place to provide mitigation for each of the many
tanks just randomly die.
Too easy to watch your main tank hit the mud to a hallowed wing. Your cooldowns were just stretched too thin to be able to overstack anywhere. This phase was so tough due to the pseudo-enrage.
Unless you're a Dark Knight.
Mentioned yet. You know how dropping the Mortal Vow without trading it causes an enrage? Well, there's another way to get that. If Svelga kills a player through any method, you'll get pop-up text that would become painfully familiar to proccing groups. And he will enrage, making his attacks one-shot. Phase 6 didn't take hours to proc. It took days. Full 16-hour day slogs, and multiple of them too.
I mean, to be honest, when he says that this is the hardest to proc, he doesn't really, again, like we say, when we say that this is the best ultimate, we don't mean that this, like, the fight itself is the best ultimate. When he says that this is the hardest to proc, he don't mean that this is the hardest phase, you know, in the fight, or the hardest phase in ultimate. It's just like, the deeper it goes, the lesser pools you have. The more tiring it becomes just to get here to learn one phase, right? That's what he meant, you know?
Perfecting and iterating to reach the end. Just as groups were approaching the end, a tweet came in. Neverland had done it. They'd cleared. World First had been claimed. Until this point, the entire group had been quiet on social media, trading flattering shows of how far ahead they were.
I don't know whether Frosty ever had like a interview with them and like asking, I mean, probably, but I don't think I watched. Like, for example, right, so Neverland, when you saw TPS have those tweets, what do you think? You're one day ahead. We were like, we got these boys. When we saw TPS just posted it, maybe it was 6 hours ago, we were already there for one day. We were like drinking wine. We were ordering McDonald's. We were sweating our balls. But the moment Sindor posted it, we knew we are safe. We decided to go sleep 3 hours earlier, buy a pizza for ourselves, read later tomorrow, watch Spider-Man 3 before we started progging. It was amazing. Oh my god, I would love that. I would love to hear that.
For focus on their own game. And it had absolutely paid off. At this point, no stream group had even seen the final phase of the fight, so it was a testament of just how well those players...
Arthars, are you Neverland material? As in skill? I believe a raid team got 8 people, not including the 9-man players. That's 8 people. I believe, right? Any of the good proggers, the hardcore proggers that we've seen, not just me, Zeno, Rinon himself, Style, Momo, Violent Destruction, Serenaya, everyone. I believe all these people, right? If you were to take out one from any of these Wolfers team and then you replace it with one of us, and that one guy doesn't play like a very strong role, a Reaper, Dancer, I do think that if your responsibility is don't eat shit, execute what you need to do, because at the end of the day, you don't want too much cook in the kitchen. All you need is one guy cooking or a couple of people cooking. All you need is one guy calling out and then some other guy back up, and then you need the other players to execute. Not everybody needs to be the head chef. Not everybody needs to be the sous chef. Some people just need to be, yes chef, yes chef, yes chef, understood chef, chef, heard chef. In every raid group, you need followers, you need executioner, and you need people who call out. Any one of the Wolfers team, -1, replaced by any one of us hardcore raider, and that person only needs to execute, I think anybody could be Neverland material. Now that being said, obviously if you ask me, I do think, not full of shit or anything. If you tell me, hey Arthars, we got one guy sick, you want to join Neverland just for this prop? And I say, you know what? I suck at theory crafting. I suck at call out. I'm a good listener. I am a good executioner. You give me a plan, I execute that plan 10 out of 10 times. But don't expect me to like brainstorm. Don't expect me to be like on that pool when I see that my footage, I know exactly what went wrong. You know what? I will give the analysis, the footage. I will give you the POV. I stay alive. I look around. I don't have to press button. I do what you need and you tell me what to do. I can do it. Not a problem. And that, I'm pretty sure all the hardcore raiders can do that. There's a reason why we can clear the fight, right? Like blind and stuff, right? Even though we don't have like the best cooker, we don't have the best chef, even what we have second, third, fourth hand, lower level call-outs, lower level theory crafting, we execute. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Performed and how much they deserved that win. A massive congratulations to them and the legacy that they built that week. At this point, almost an entire week into prog, groups were beginning to drop out. Pay time off from work was running out for those that took just a week.
The moment we saw this, we were very upset. Not because we didn't get Wolfers, no. We were very upset because we were so far behind. I think they cleared it on the 7th day. We cleared it on the 10th day. So at this point, we are 3 days behind. That was the sad part. And you know what makes me scared? It's not that we can't clear the fight. It's that I was scared that Kururu would just, like what Zeb say, Kururu will just settle for, guys, let's take it casual. We've been raiding 16 hours for 7 days. Now that they already clear, day 7 for me. So I was like, does this mean that we also gonna be taking more time off? We're gonna sleep longer? Are we gonna raid just 10 instead of 16? Because I want to clear the fight. We still don't see anything in last phase. It's still blind. This is my only chance to like blind proc as much as I can. I don't expect to blind proc 100% of the fight. But if I can blind proc 89, 90, 92, 95%, if I can push that 1 more percent and see things blind, I'm okay with it. That is still good. That is still a dub. That is still a great experience. You know what I mean? Viewers also didn't see it. So I want to like go hard still. Don't want to get demoralized. Don't want people to just like suddenly cut off. Because a lot of teams, the moment Wolf first came out, second came out, third came out. Also after 1 week, no more time off. A lot of teams just decided to, like Rin says, right? Like Rinon says, right? They just go into like, 6 hours a day raid day. That was what I was very worried. I'm like, dude, I want to play more. I still want to play, you know what I mean? I don't want to sleep. I don't want to just like, oh, people got it already. Let's just take it, calm down and chill. No, right? That was one thing I'm super worried, you know?
Prog was impacting health, and in some cases, DSR was just becoming too much. But for many...
See, this is the part I don't understand. What the f do you mean prog impact health? How does prog impact health? Just because you play 16 hours a day, that doesn't make you suffer. I mean, you enjoy the game, right? It's not that bad, right?
The race was still on. There were still placements to claim. There was no confirmed win on stream.
And it's only 3 days for Savage, 7 days, 10 days for Ultimate. Out of 3 years, that's not gonna kill you.
No footage of final phase, and everything to...
Lack of sleep is really impactful. Hey. If you are given 8 hours of sleep, which all of us do, and you don't, that's not because of the Ultimate's fault. Close your f***ing eyes and go to bed. Oh, but I cannot sleep. Then that's a you problem. Learning how to sleep is as important as learning how to play. If you cannot close your eyes and sleep after 16 hours, a long day at work, something is fucking wrong with you, okay? Yeah, just sleep. But I want to see how far the other group has proc. That is not your job. That is your analysis job. That is the job for the guy who knows and think he could handle it. Minus 1 hour of sleep, wake up and still be a Giga Chat raid lead. That is his job. My job, if I have to sleep, wake up fresh and raid, I will sleep, wake up fresh and raid. S tier transition, this one, nah. T transition is better. This one is kind of mid. I like T transition better. This one is okay. This one is like A tier.
No Hit were the first group to see that transition live on stream, followed shortly by Kryl. Thordan absorbs the power of both the slain worms and becomes what he always aspired to be, the Dragon King. This is the product of your choices. This is what you've done, and you need to make it right. His transition goes...
You know, after DSR, you know what I want them to do? I want them to make an ultimate where you can also make choices like this, but it doesn't loop. Let's just say you kill Nidhogg right there, and then you don't save Hoshifon, the Dragon Song, and the and then you get a title called the Scarf Legend, and then you get an achievement, not quite the Dragon Song, yo. You know what I mean? And then you're like, guys, we got Wolf first. We did it. Looking for static, clearing Scarf Ultimate. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I would love to see that. I want them to make a content like that. And then when you get the weapon, it doesn't glow. It's just the base copy but doesn't glow. And then you stand in Limsa. Yay. I think it's fun. And I think it's also casual, right? And I also think it's like funny. I wanted to do something like that, man.
Hard-hitting raid wide. And as reality shatters for a moment, the
holy... Okay. I was about to say, what the f is that dodge?
Simple phase, with only a few mechanics that cycle into the enrage. Firstly, you have Exaflares Edge. Exaflares are a regularly recurring mechanic in FF14 since...
You guys know there's an uptime strat for this, right? You guys know that there is a way to see which one will never get hit and just stand in there, right? There's always one that you can just stand in there. Now, obviously, I don't expect anyone to do that. Xeno would. Xeno would. There is a way. You look at the arrow, the one that didn't get targeted by the other Exaflare is the safe one. Process of elimination. You take this time and you count which circle is the one not being targeted by the other two, not being arrowed by the other two circles. That is the safe one.
AoEs that indicate with an...
Now, obviously, I'm not saying that I'm the one that figured it out, but at least on stream, brainstorming it during that time, I was the one that figured out, like, wait, hold up. I didn't have the balls to do it.
They'll pulse, moving in the direction of the arrow, hitting
I pussed it out.
Way. These Exaflares were built different, though, because they split in 3 different directions apiece, and with 3 initial Exaflares,
there you go. There you go.
Different pulse piece.
There you go.
And Exaflares were built different of the arrow, hitting multiple times along the way. These Exaflares...
Okay, look. The one Exaflare that is not being arrowed is the safe one. You see how this one doesn't aim at this? You see this one also doesn't aim at this. It goes across. It goes across. This one is targeting this, and I think this one is... I can't see. Yeah.
Exaflares were built different, though. Because
yeah. You was right. Yeah. You see this one is targeting... You see this one... Okay, see this one is targeting this, and this one is targeting this. Okay, this is a good POV. This one is hitting this one, and this one is hitting this one. This one is safe.
And with 3 initial Exaflares, you would have 9 different...
Now again, do you have to do this yourself? No. Again, like I said earlier, let's just say you are in the world best group. You are playing with the best player. All you need is one guy to tell you, C, B, D, execute. Not everybody needs to be a chef. Somebody needs to be the waiter, waitress. You know?
Death.
Not everybody needs to be the commander. Not everybody needs to be the officer. Some people just need to be the corporal. You know?
All around the arena.
I am a corporal.
And you needed to find the safe spot. If only it were that easy though, because the boss will also glow with a fire or ice imbuement. If it's fire, you need to be outside the hitbox when the Exaflares start. If it's ice, you need to...
One reason why I push it out is because I'm a ninja. I have a Rinon here.
...to be inside. These fire and ice mechanics accompany each of the 3 casted abilities, so just assume they're there for both of the other 2 that I'm about to explain.
Don't have to try.
Luckily, groups found a consistent
easy
to Exaflare that required basically no thought.
See?
Because dodging into
right on.
AoE
there you go, see?
Worked for every single possible pattern, completely removing the need to look at the arrows or think at all. Next came Akh Morn's Edge, and based on this naming convention, I think it's fair to assume that Thordan is a bit of an edgy lad. Akh Morn's Edge is a set of 3 multi-hit raid wides, 1 for the tanks at the back, and 2 for the rest of the party on the north, west, and east. Each time
This moving in one step is so important. I don't know whether it's easier now. I don't know whether heal is easier now. I don't know whether it's like, everybody got more HP or something. I don't know. But let me tell you, that moving one step in is so important. Getting the fire pattern, you have to walk one step in. Any white mages in chat? Any white mage chatters here that use Cure Tree? And then you got one motherfucker that doesn't take that one step in, he's dead. How did I die? Where are the heals?
Time this mechanic comes back, it hits extra times, and you need a tight mitigation plan to survive because it hits like a truck. Lastly, you had Exaflares Edge, which would telegraph 3 meteors in order.
Thanks for reminding me.
You simply needed to stand opposite the first one and then move away from each meteor.
Whoa! Oh my god!
Damage. In between each time one of these mechanics occurs.
See what I mean? Does that guy looks like he's in charge? Does that one guy that ran the wrong direction, do you think that he was a shot caller? Do you think he was the one that made the strat? No, he was the follower. You need people like that. Guess what? He made it. You know why? He has been there before. That is his job. That is the one best thing some of us are good at. When we are not good at strategizing, analyzing, and shot calling, we execute. I am that guy. And let me tell you, you do not want me to make strat. My English suck. Just go and ask Shinda. Ask Shinda when we do the second criterion when I was explaining the strat. Let me tell you, I don't even knew what I was talking about. After I finished explaining, I was like, yo, Shinda, I'm sorry for what I just said. I don't think it made any sense. And then Shinda is like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. You know what I mean? I think it is better that I shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
You get to deal with 2 Trinities. It's called Trinity because
I am not very good at explaining stuff. My English is really bad. Like, you see how my wife, how do I explain to her how to do the mechanic? I don't know how, you know?
It hits 3 people. It attacks both tanks and whichever player ends up deepest.
No, calls I can make. Explaining mechanics, I'm not very good. I know how to do them. It's very difficult for me to explain. And also, man, some of the terms that you guys use, I have no idea how it means. And let me tell you, counterclockwise, I'm sorry, cardinal, intercardinal, counterclockwise, and clockwise is something even today I struggle. Please, just tell me left or right. I'm always looking at the boss. When I do the TOP Exaflare dodge, we are looking at A or B or C or D. Just tell me left or right. Don't tell me clockwise. Guys, look at C and then turn right. Okay, look at C and then turn right. Don't tell me look at C and counterclockwise. That takes me 1 more second. So when I have to explain the mechanic to you, we are going to go to right. Wait, which right? Oh, I'm sorry, clockwise. Wait, you mean counter? Yeah, sorry, I mean counter. Yeah. I am not very good at explaining. A lot of this terminology, I don't use them. And also, by the way, when I play with JP, we also use a different stat. A Kijun Migi. Okay, look at A and go right side. We rarely go Han Toke or Toke. Very, very seldom. Because we are always looking at boss. When you play with JP, we are always looking at boss. Nobody play... Okay, dude. Bro. We look at the boss and we do mechanic. Turn left, turn right. We don't do this. Oh, turn left. Wait, look at boss or don't look at boss. What the fuck are you looking at? So like in JP is different, you know what I mean?
Just inside the boss hitbox. Being hit by Trinity as a non-tank gives you a vulner.
That's why when I call out things for NA, it's a little bit different. Difficult.
Tanks get light and dark vulnerability, and they need to regularly tank swap to prevent their stacks from getting too high. That's it. That's everything. Everything I've mentioned cycles through a few times, and then you get to enrage.
Dude, all these healings are tight, man. Dude, one big shout out, man, to healers progging an ultimate. The last phase is all you guys. The last phase is all healers. Healers are the red lead in the last phase. Whether you clear an ultimate fast or slow, it depends on your healer. Your healers are in charge here. Where needs to be mitigated, where they have one thing, where they don't have one thing. They are the one that plan it. They are the one that use it. They are the one that tell tanks when to use it. Tanks don't tell you when to use it. Tanks don't know shit. Tanks will never die first. Party member will die and then tank will be like, how did he die? How come you die? Tanks will never know why. Tanks only use mitigation on demand of the healers, not demand on you. You want to clear an ultimate, it's on the healers. We DPS, make sure you press your blood buff. And let me tell you, even if you don't, you will not die. Pressing a blood buff or not is only if you say, for example, proximity damage, right? You yourself stand too far, didn't get into soil. You take too much damage, then the blood buff helps you. But in general, if you are doing, again, if you're executing what is required, quiet. Everybody please, you know, stay at the edge of the sacred sword. Everybody do their job. Even whether you use your blood buff or not, your personal mitigation is only if you personally fuck up. If a healer tells you, you should have healed yourself fully yourself there before the next mechanic happens, tell that healer to eat a dick. I have those tools. That doesn't mean I have to use it. Should I use it? Yes. Must I? No. Let me tell you, some things like blood buff and shade shift are more important to use it on emergency. When I say emergency, I mean like, oh shit, I make a mistake. I need to cover myself. More than I should use it so that you can press one less cure for me to top off. If you're speed running, sure. If you're not speed running, eat my dick. You f***ing lazy shit. Cure me. Don't expect me to blood buff perfectly. On my pass. Yeah, eat my dick with your pass, okay?
Incredibly punishing ones that made you pay attention to the details. It also wasn't unrecoverable either, because high healer awareness could easily fix a messed up tank swap, or a quick adjust in res making up for unfortunate
Healers are the carry for every ultimate last phase. Every ultimate last phase. Healers are the carry.
player death. Phase 7 also hit incredibly hard.
Whatever as a DPS we do in last phase does not matter. It does not matter. Execute. Do what everybody needs to do. If you cannot even do that, if you are the only one guy that is supposed to do what everybody else is doing and you do nothing else and you die, get the fuck out. A DPS being in last phase is you are the worst player.
Mitigation requirement was tight, and even with good mit, the outgoing damage was high and precise timing was needed. But this is something that the top groups excel at, and it was certainly not going to hold them back from victory. As more and more groups clawed their way to Phase 7, at this point, all eyes were glued to Twitch streams, watching the attempts get closer and closer to victory. And eventually, Kral stepped up.
Dude, this is the best group I've been in for an ultimate. You know why? It only took us 4 tries to clear the last phase. Our 3rd try, we got 0.2%. Our 4th try, we killed it. Probably the best composed player and healers. 4 tries last phase. I think that is pretty good. This is probably the best group I've been in. Yeah. Oh, this was our clear? Oh. Man, what a day. What a day. Yeah, I never tried so hard. I have never tried so hard. Not even Mythic Plus. Mythic Plus, I don't get a 22 time. Sure, I'll do a 21. It's not my key, not my problem. I have never tried so hard in a video game. This is the hardest I ever tried. I'm not gonna lie, when I cried, I thought it was really cringe. I thought I overreacted. But then after this and I watched everybody clear, everybody was crying. That was when I knew this was the best ultimate they ever made. This was the one that really touched all of us, I think. Oh my god. Yeah, this is the one. I don't think this game will ever reach this height again. I'm not talking about the design of the fight. I'm not talking about the how fun it is. I'm talking about like the entire thing. You know what I mean? This is peak. This is literally peak. This is peak Final Fantasy XIV on Twitch. This is peak community engagement. You know what I mean? That we can see on live stream, right? I think this is the one. Yeah.
Oh my god, dude.
This was their moment. They had taken stream first, and it was an emotional finish to be sure. And now, I'm just going to cut to the post-victory cutscene and let it play out on its own with no narration.
This was such a good cutscene as well. To end. What an ultimate. Holy shit, what a fight. You guys know Daigo? You know that moment that Daigo parried Justin? That one moment that changed Street Fighter? This was the moment that changed Ultimate. This was the Ultimate that makes people want to do Ultimate. This was like the fight that people stop dreaming and start doing Ultimate. This was when even a casual raider wants to do Ultimate. This is when even a new player wants to do Ultimate. This is when somebody who's already doing Ultimate wants to be better. This is when you are a good player and you want to be the best player. This is the Ultimate. This was the one that makes everybody stand up. When I go to NA and EU Fan Fest, everybody tells me DSR was what makes them rage. Your DSR stream was the best. Thank you so much for the DSR stream. DSR made me cry. And I was like, this was the one. Yeah, this was really the one. Yeah. You know what? This is the video title. The raid that changed 14 history. I almost forgot the title. You know what? This title is accurate. This is the raid that changed 14 history, I think. Raiding history, for sure. This was one to never forget. Has to be one of the best moments of me streaming. I think this is also one of the best moments in my life, I think. In video game. In playing video game, I think. Yeah. I got goosebumps, man. Watching this, I got goosebumps. So good. Who would have thought? Fucking insane.
I think it's not an unpopular opinion to say that Dragonsong's Reprise changed Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh, yeah.
It was the first Ultimate
Yes.
with such a heavy story focus. And while due to
It is.
unfortunate backlash from people who will never do the fight, I think it added to what made it so exciting. People weren't just hyped to see their favourite groups and streamers prog. They were excited to see what would happen next. They were eager to see the alternate timeline, to see if they could save him, to witness the twists and turns that would happen along the way. It was also, at the time, without a doubt, the hardest fight in the game's history. In the same way that UCOP took encounters to a whole new level of expectation in 2017, DSR did it again in 2022. People that cleared came out much stronger players than they went.
Oh, yeah.
It was an incredible fight with
See, that is the problem. That is a problem. If your gap continues to widen, how are players like my wife ever gonna get in? I know I shit on my wife a lot, but it's not fair for her that she only started playing less than 1 month and then have to deal with all this shit. How long is it gonna take her to learn all these things before she say, for example, give up? Before she says, nah, this is not for me. I don't know, man. I mean, that's why they don't make it harder, I think. I think that's not... Yeah, exactly. It happens to WoW as well. It happened to WoW as well. Getting into Mythic Raid, getting into high-level keys, it deemed impossible to a lot of players today. That's why, again, it's not just Final Fantasy XIV, by the way. You guys think that Final Fantasy XIV is the only community that is like, oh my god, why make content only for 1% of the population? Dude, WoW is equal to the same. Man, why bother with Mythic Raid when obviously only 2 teams can clear the fight? Why make Mythic Plus go uncapped difficulty 20, 30, 50? Okay, I don't think you can do a 50. I mean, there was people that do 50 keys, I don't know. Why bother with that, right? But I think it needs to be there. But I also think the developers need to understand, okay, this, right, is a generic gap. Casual content, hardcore content. So then you got a random player that is skilled. He or she can do this. And then you got like people that is like here. And then you obviously also got like people like, man, I want things to be harder. So then the game, right, will extend that. And then obviously now this guy will stand here. And then this guy will stand here. Man, I am still upset. I need harder content. This now goes from here into here. And now this go from here into here. Oh man, you know, I'm forever not satisfied, you know? Okay, sure. Yoshi P will give it to you because Yoshi P is a god and savior of the game. Right? You see what I mean? Like this hardcore content always becomes better. From UU, T, DSR, TOP. Now here comes the problem. If you want to move this, you need to move this. This casual bar over here needs to be shift to here. Oh, it moved 1 step, it needs to be shift to here. You need to progressively move this thing. This bar needs to be moving. This bar cannot keep stretching. This is the mistake that WoW did. It stretched to the point that people cannot make that ground anymore. Some people do. Not everybody can. Final Fantasy XIV is now getting there already. 7.0, they need to find a way. They have to make casual content harder in 7.0. Now, Final Fantasy XIV is making it worse, by the way. It's taking a step back here. It's stretching both ways. Did you guys see how the 24-man is right now? Did you guys see Zeromus? Don't make that mistake. Do not make the mistake WoW did. You are 10 years in. I am not saying that the game got worse. I am just saying don't make a fundamental mistake that a lot of MMORPG make. Yeah, we'll see.